Somewhere in America, there's a claim file that just says damaged by ghost. It got denied, barely. The next one in the stack blames a coconut, then a moose making eye contact through a kitchen window. Today, we're cracking open the strangest car and home insurance complaints ever logged in this country, and the quiet rules that decide who actually walks away with a check. 1. Picture the call. A guy in Phoenix, voice already shaking, tells his auto adjuster a rogue shopping cart attacked his door at Walmart. He wants the store, the cart manufacturer, and his own carrier to all pay him in full. Separately. 3 checks. The adjuster patiently explains the world doesn't owe him a small fortune for 1 dent. Comprehensive pays once, minus deductible, end of story. He insisted the cart had intent. Sir, it has 4 wobbly wheels and a stiff breeze. 2. Over in Florida, a coconut from a woman's own tree falls on her own car in her own driveway. She demands her home and auto policies both pay her twice full value. 1 falling fruit, 1 comprehensive claim, 1 check. That's the whole rulebook. She called this a coordinated insurance conspiracy against her by the coconut. 3. Quick question for you. Your neighbor's tree falls on your fence in a thunderstorm. Whose insurance pays? Most people answer his. Most people are wrong. If it's an act of nature with no negligence, your fence sits on your policy, your deductible. An Ohio guy refused to accept this for 40 minutes straight, demanded the neighbor be investigated. For what exactly? Owning a tree during weather? 4. The deer leapt. That was the man's story. Onto the roof of his Honda. From above, while he was driving. Sure, the damage is on the roof. But there's no fur, no blood, no antler scrape, no hoof prints, nothing. The adjuster, very gently, asks how the deer got airborne. Long pause. Long pause. He says it must have been a really athletic one. Comprehensive covers deer strikes. It does not cover deer doing parkour off a highway overpass. 5. A Texas homeowner files for spiritual damage after she swears a ghost knocked over her china cabinet. She wants the dishes replaced, a hotel for the weekend, and pain and suffering. Standard homeowners covers sudden accidental physical damage. Sadly for her, there is no rider for poltergeists. There absolutely should be. There absolutely is not. 6. Bumper kissing the other guy's trunk. Headlight glass on the asphalt. Paint transfer running clearly one direction. None of that stops a Michigan driver from swearing the car he hit at a red light backed into him on purpose. Adjusters look at the actual cars, by the way. The metal tells the truth long before the human does. He demanded a fraud investigation on the other driver. The investigation went the other way. Loudly. 7. Quick reality check. Do you know the standard jewelry limit on most homeowners' policies? Around $1,500. Total. Not per piece. Total. A New Jersey woman dropped her $18,000 engagement ring down the garbage disposal and demanded full replacement. She had no scheduled jewelry writer, the separate add-on built for exactly this. The carrier had warned her in writing. Twice. Mailed. Signed for. She blamed them anyway. 8. Here's a sentence that ruins thousands of homeowners' claims every single year. Damage caused by rodents from the inside is excluded. Squirrels, mice, rats, all of them. A Colorado man learned this on the phone at full volume in front of his wife after squirrels chewed his attic wiring and started a small electrical fire. The resulting fire might be covered depending on policy language. The chewing? Always on you. 9. Out in Las Vegas, a man files a stolen vehicle claim. Full theft payout. Police find the car 3 days later parked in his second garage. His own second garage. He had simply forgotten that garage existed. The adjuster reportedly stared at the file for a full minute before typing a single word. 10. Georgia mom files for a brand new sectional because her toddler spilled an entire juice box on purpose with malice. Direct quote. In the file. Friend, that's not a covered loss. That's parenting. Homeowners covers fires and burst pipes, not grape-flavored war crimes committed by people under 3 feet tall. 11. Now here's the most painful sentence in this entire industry, and I want you to hear it clearly. Standard homeowners policies in the United States do not cover flood. They never have. You need a separate flood policy almost always through the National Flood Insurance Program, bought in advance, often with a 30-day waiting period. Millions of Americans only learn this the morning after the water leaves. A Louisiana man learned it post-hurricane, on a porch that no longer existed, holding a denial letter and a coffee cup. Tell me in the comments, did you know this rule before today? Honestly? 12. A New York landlord, panicking on the phone, asks if his homeowners can cover a dog bite lawsuit without anyone finding out about the dog. The dog is a pit bull. The tenant has it. Many carriers either exclude certain breeds outright or charge extra when they're disclosed, and hiding one on the application is straight-up misrepresentation. That can void the entire policy retroactively. They voided. The lawsuit landed on him personally. All of it. 13. Picture this Arizona scene. A woman insists her car was hit by lightning. The car is fine, tires fine, electronics perfect. She just feels the air around the vehicle was struck and her SUV is now spiritually compromised. She wants full replacement value. Comprehensive covers actual lightning strikes. It does not cover energy fields. 14. Here's a thing people genuinely don't understand until it's too late. Every claim you file shows up on something called a clue report, and every future carrier can see it for years. A Tennessee guy got his car keyed at Walmart and demanded his insurer pay for repairs without it counting as a claim. Doesn't work like that, anywhere, ever. You file, it's filed. Have you ever pulled your own clue report? You can, for free. Most people never bother, and that's a mistake. 15. Here's something adjusters do that policyholders forget about constantly. They check the weather, with timestamps, down to the hour. A Massachusetts homeowner sent in dramatic photos of roof damage, blamed it on a freak windstorm last Tuesday, and the adjuster pulled the records. There was no wind that Tuesday, or the Tuesday before, or any Tuesday that month. The damage was years of slow wear and tear, and that's the single most common denial in all of homeowners. Roofs are not forever. Somehow this surprises everyone. 16. Up in Oregon, a guy demands a brand new car because his old one smells weird now after a tiny fender bender. Bumper scuff. Frame perfect. He's certain there's hidden damage producing the odor. The adjuster suggests kindly that he check the air vents. Forgotten chicken sandwich. 2 weeks old. He did not call to follow up. 17. Try this Illinois nightmare. January. A burst pipe. Standard claim, until the adjuster asks one question that flips the whole file sideways. What was the thermostat set to while you were on vacation? The man, almost proud of himself, says he turned the heat all the way off to save money. Most homeowners' policies require you to maintain reasonable heat or properly drain the plumbing if the home is unoccupied in freezing weather. He did neither. The denial wasn't personal. It was right there on page 7 of his own contract. Read your policy, folks. Genuinely. 18. Way up in Maine, a woman files a homeowner's claim because a moose looked at her through her kitchen window and she felt threatened in her own home. No damage, no contact, just eye contact with a moose. The carrier sent a polite denial and a wildlife brochure. 19. Let me kill a myth, right here, on the record. Hit and run does not automatically waive your deductible. In some states with specific uninsured motorist property damage coverage it can apply, but on most basic auto policies, that scratch is your money first. A Pennsylvania driver tried claiming a full bumper replacement for what was unmistakably a shopping cart kiss, swore it was hit and run, and demanded $0 out of pocket. He did not get that. He left a 1-star review of the universe. 20. Two Florida sweethearts try to file a homeowner's claim for hurricane damage 3 weeks before the hurricane officially arrives because they saw it coming on the news. Carriers have a rule called a binding restriction. Once a named storm enters the cone of concern, you cannot buy or expand coverage in the affected area. Why? Because of exactly this behavior. They called the policy discrimination against forward-thinking people. That sentence is now in their permanent file. Forever. 21. Utah. A man hits a cow on a dark highway. Comprehensive covers it, no problem. Then, inspired, he files a second claim, same incident, separately for the cow itself, on the theory that he now legally owns the dead cow. You don't, by the way, automatically inherit livestock you collide with. The legal team passed that file around the office for laughs. 22. Mold is the silent killer of homeowners' claims. Most policies cap mold coverage hard, often at $5,000 total, and only when it grows from a covered sudden event, like a burst pipe. A North Carolina woman's small bathroom problem ballooned into a $40,000 nightmare, all from a slow leak she ignored for 2 years. Her check was $5,000. Slow leaks, condensation, neglect, none of it qualifies. The rule is the same in every state. Read your policy. 23. Down in Kentucky, a guy reports his truck stolen at midnight. By noon the next day, he calls back, very calm, to say he found it at his ex-wife's house, where he had personally driven it the night before. After several drinks, he still wanted his rental car coverage activated for the missing 12 hours. The answer rhymed with no. 24. A Connecticut homeowner hires a contractor who absolutely destroys her kitchen, then expects homeowners to clean up his mess. This catches people every single year, so let's lock it in. Homeowners covers sudden accidental damage. It does not cover bad workmanship. That is exactly why contractors are supposed to carry their own liability insurance, and exactly why you ask for proof of it before you sign anything. Hers had no insurance, no real address, and a cousin's phone number. She was on her own. 25. Over in California, a woman submits a claim for her entire freezer after a power outage, itemized down to a half-eaten tub of mint chip. Most homeowners' policies do cover food spoilage from outages, but with a sublimit, usually around $500, and often only when the outage is on your property, not at the utility level down the street. She wanted $3,000. She got $500. Quick poll for you. Without checking your policy right now, do you actually know your food spoilage limit? Most people don't, and that's the whole problem. 26. Here's a sentence that breaks hearts every spring. Sewer backup is not covered on a standard homeowner's policy. You need a specific endorsement, sometimes called water backup, usually a few bucks a month. A Cincinnati woman called crying after her finished basement filled with sewage from a city main, and she had no rider. $70,000 of damage, zero coverage, polite denial letter. Did your agent ever mention this rider to you? They were supposed to. 27. Diminished value. Look up that phrase if you've never heard it. Brand new car gets hit, gets repaired beautifully, looks perfect. But Carfax now shows an accident and resale tanks. In most states, you can only collect diminished value from the at-fault driver's carrier, not your own, and only on a third-party claim. A Texas guy demanded his own insurer pay it on a no-fault crash. They smiled and said no. Politely. Repeatedly. 28. Let's settle earthquake coverage once and for all. Standard homeowners policy. Not covered. Anywhere. In any state. Period. You need a separate earthquake policy, and in California especially, that's a whole other conversation with a whole other deductible, often around 15% of your home value. A Bay Area man tried to file after a small quake cracked his foundation. He was so confident, he was so wrong. 29. Up in Minnesota, a guy parks his truck on a frozen lake during ice fishing season. Standard move up there. Totally normal. What's not normal is leaving it there into early March. The ice did what ice always does in March. The truck did what trucks always do in lakes. He tried to file it as theft, claiming someone moved his vehicle into the water. Comprehensive covers a lot of strange things. It does not cover lying to your own insurance company. 30. Quick pop quiz. What's the cash limit on most homeowners' policies for actual paper money kept in the home? Around $200. Total, a Florida woman lost $8,000 in cash from a mattress during a burglary and was furious to learn the rest wasn't covered. The limit exists because cash is impossible to verify after the fact, and because, frankly, that's what banks are for. The mattress is for sleeping. 31. Hit a pothole, blew 2 tires, bent a rim. Who pays? You do, friend. Pothole damage falls under collision with your deductible, every time. Some drivers expect their carrier to chase the city for them. Cities have aggressive sovereign immunity laws and reject most of those claims out of the gate. An Indiana driver spent 2 months fighting both his insurer and the Public Works Department and walked away with exactly nothing. 32. Trampoline in the backyard, no fence, no net. Neighbor's kid breaks an arm. Welcome to one of the most expensive sentences in homeowners. Trampolines are what carriers call an attractive nuisance, right alongside unfenced pools and aggressive dog breeds. Many policies exclude trampolines outright. Others charge extra. A New Jersey homeowner didn't disclose hers, and when the lawsuit hit, the carrier denied liability coverage. Read the deck page on yours. Today, ideally. 33. A pool without a fence is a six-figure mistake waiting to happen. Most municipalities legally require a fence of a specific height, and most homeowners' policies require it for liability coverage to apply. An Arizona guy skipped both. A neighbor's kid wandered in. The lawsuit was catastrophic. The carrier paid nothing, citing both code violation and a clear policy exclusion. Quick honest moment for you. If you have a pool, do you actually know what your fence requirements are? In writing? 34. Dog bites are the single biggest source of homeowners' liability claims in America, and average payouts keep climbing. A Houston woman's lab who has never done that before mauled a delivery driver and her carrier paid out, then non-renewed her on the spot. That's a thing carriers can do, by the way. One bite, one payout, one polite letter saying you'll need to find coverage elsewhere next year. Good luck explaining that to the next 10 companies. 35. Your housekeeper falls down your stairs. Who pays? Most people guess wrong here. Your homeowner's liability might cover it, but if she works for you regularly enough to count as an employee, you may have needed workers' comp coverage and didn't have it. A Connecticut couple discovered this distinction during a deposition. They paid out of pocket. A lot. The cleaning lady, by the way, was lovely about it. The lawyers were not. 36. Identity theft coverage. It's a cheap rider, often around $25 a year, and almost nobody buys it. A Michigan retiree had her identity stolen, spent 400 hours fixing it, and called her homeowners about lost wages and legal fees. Without the rider, nothing. With it, most of those costs are reimbursable. It's one of the most underrated additions on the menu, and your agent will absolutely add it if you ask. Will they bring it up first? Almost never. 37. Uber driver gets in a wreck while logged into the app and tries to file under his personal auto. Personal auto policies almost universally exclude commercial use, and rideshare counts. You need either the rideshare endorsement on your personal policy or coverage from the platform itself, which only applies during certain phases of the trip. An Atlanta driver learned this mid-claim. The denial was instant. His Uber rating somehow stayed 5 stars throughout. Small mercy. 38. Christmas tree fires are absolutely real, absolutely covered, and absolutely brutal when they happen. A Wisconsin family lost half a living room to cheap string lights on a dry tree, and the claim went smoothly. Sudden, accidental, no negligence found. What does not go smoothly? Filing a claim and casually mentioning you were burning candles directly on the branches. That's where coverage gets uncomfortable. Carriers ask follow-up questions, lots of them. 39. Deep frying a turkey. On a wooden deck. Right next to vinyl siding. Under a covered porch. Look, I'm not going to pretend this isn't covered, because in most cases, sudden cooking fires are. But every single Thanksgiving, claims adjusters across the country brace themselves for the same exact call. A Virginia man burned down 2,000 square feet of house in under 9 minutes a couple years back. The video made the local news. The claim went through. Slowly. 40. Pulled into the garage too fast. Hit the back wall. The wall collapses onto the car. Who pays? This one's interesting. The car damage falls under collision on auto. The wall damage falls under homeowners. 2 deductibles, 2 claims, 1 stupid moment. A Kansas guy tried to argue it should be 1 event, 1 deductible. That's not how it works when 2 completely different kinds of property are involved. 2 checks in, 2 checks out. Math is a cruel mistress. 41. Backed out of his own driveway and hit his other car parked across the street. True story, Oregon. Both vehicles insured by the same company. He assumed they'd just zero it out internally. Nope. 2 separate claims, 2 deductibles, 2 premium hits. Carriers don't care that you're the at-fault driver and the victim simultaneously. The system simply doesn't have a line item for "I am my own enemy." 42. Hail is the great equalizer of car insurance. One bad storm in Texas can total 10,000 vehicles in an afternoon. Comprehensive covers it, deductible applies, and yes, even cosmetic dents count as totaled if the repair cost exceeds the car's value. A Dallas owner was shocked his perfectly running 2008 Camry got declared a total loss over dimples. The car drives fine. The carrier doesn't care. Math says totaled, totaled it is. 43. Lightning hits a pole down the street. Surge fries every electronic in your house. Covered? Mostly yes, under power surge and lightning provisions, but here's the trap. Many policies cap electronics or require an itemized list. A Florida couple lost 2 TVs, a fridge, 3 computers, and a fancy espresso machine, and got reimbursed for about half of it. Why? They couldn't prove what they owned. Photograph your stuff. Today. Phone, 10 minutes, 1 walk through the house. 44. Here's the silent killer of auto coverage. Lapsed policies. You miss 1 payment, your policy cancels, you don't notice for 3 weeks, and during those 3 weeks, you rear-end a Tesla. Welcome to financial ruin. A Nevada driver lived this exact nightmare. The carrier was sympathetic. They were also legally bound to deny everything. He's on a payment plan for most of the next decade. 45. Time to talk modifications. You add a turbo, lower the suspension, drop in a bigger engine, and never tell your insurance company, then you crash. Carriers can deny the claim outright on the grounds of material misrepresentation. A California tuner kid learned this with a totaled WRX and a denial letter that was somehow longer than his build receipt. Tell your insurer about mods, always. They'd rather charge you a little more than pay you anything at all. 46. Rebuilt title cars are a minefield. Many carriers won't write full coverage on them, and the ones that will pay out actual cash value at a steep discount in a total loss. A Phoenix guy bought a salvage Mustang, insured it as if it were clean, totaled it 6 months later, and got a check for about a third of what he expected. The title was the whole story. He just didn't read it. 47. Keys in the ignition at a gas station, engine running, 10 seconds inside paying, car gone. Some policies have language excluding theft when the keys are left in the vehicle. Most don't, but every single one will raise an eyebrow and slow the process. A Boston commuter spent a week arguing this exact scenario before the carrier finally paid, with a note in his file that future leniency was, and I quote, unlikely. 48. Let's get into snowplow damage. The plow takes out your mailbox, your tree, your hand-laid landscaping. The driver works for the city. The city has sovereign immunity. Your homeowners might cover it depending on perils, but mailboxes specifically often have a tiny sublimit, sometimes $200. A Vermont homeowner submitted a claim for a custom stone mailbox post he'd built himself for $2,000. He got $200. He was, to put it mildly, displeased. 49. Here come the ice dams. Snow piles up on your roof, melts during the day, refreezes at the eaves. Water backs up under the shingles, ceiling collapses. Covered usually under sudden water damage. Not covered if the carrier can prove neglected maintenance, like obviously failing gutters or missing shingles for 2 seasons. A Maine homeowner lost his entire upstairs to this. The denial letter referenced photos he had posted on Facebook 18 months earlier. Adjusters check social media. Always. 50. Mudslides, landslides, earth movement of any kind. Standard homeowners, not covered. Same exclusion family as earthquake. A California hillside homeowner watched half his backyard slide downhill after heavy rain, called his carrier, and got the same answer everyone in that zip code gets. You needed a difference in conditions policy. You don't have one. We're sorry, we're not paying. 51. Now we get to sinkholes. Largely a Florida problem, and Florida has actually legislated coverage requirements around it. Most other states? Excluded outright. A Tennessee couple watched their living room floor literally disappear, called their insurer, and discovered exactly what their policy didn't say. There was no mention of sinkholes, because there was no coverage for sinkholes. The hole, however, was very real. Have you ever even checked if your state covers them? 52. Repossession is not theft. I know that sounds obvious. It is not obvious to everyone. A Mississippi man, 2 months behind on his car payment, woke up to an empty driveway and immediately called the police, then his insurance demanding a stolen vehicle claim. The lender had simply taken the car back. That's not a comprehensive claim, that's a Tuesday. He hung up on 3 separate adjusters before someone finally explained what a repo is. 53. Lent your car to a friend. Friend totals it. Whose insurance pays? In almost every state, insurance follows the car, not the driver. Your policy pays first. The friend's policy might kick in second if there's enough damage. A Colorado woman lent her Tahoe to her cousin for a weekend ski trip and watched her own premium climb afterward. He was on the slopes celebrating. She was on the phone, not celebrating. 54. Teenager not listed on the policy crashes the family car. Some carriers will pay the claim, then non-renew you for failing to disclose a household driver. Others will deny outright. A Florida dad tried to keep his 16-year-old daughter off the policy to save money, and it cost him roughly $80,000 when she rear-ended a minivan. List your drivers. All of them. The savings are an illusion. The denial is real. 55. Renting your house on Airbnb without telling your insurance company is a one-way ticket to nothing. Personal homeowners policies almost universally exclude business use, and short-term rental absolutely counts as business use. A Nashville host had a guest start a kitchen fire, filed homeowners, and got denied on every layer. He needed a commercial policy or a specific short-term rental endorsement. He had neither. He had Yelp reviews and a denial letter. 56. Vacant homes are their own special trap. If a property sits unoccupied for more than 30 days, most homeowners' policies start excluding all sorts of things: vandalism, water damage, even certain fire scenarios. A snowbird couple from Minnesota wintered in Arizona, came home to a burst pipe and ruined hardwood, and discovered their vacancy clause the hard way. Vacant home insurance is a real product. It costs more. It exists for a reason. 57. A guy in Reno tries to file a homeowner's claim for $60,000 in cash he kept for emergencies in a fireproof safe that, in fairness, did survive the fire. So did the cash. The problem? He claimed it was destroyed anyway, hoping for a payout. The adjuster opened the safe with him on the phone. The cash was fine. The claim was not. Insurance fraud is a felony in every state, including the smart ones. 58. Your neighbor's house catches fire. Smoke damage drifts into yours, ruins the carpets, soaks into the drywall. Covered? Yes, almost always, under your own homeowners. And here's the part most people miss. Your carrier will pay you, then go after the neighbor's carrier through a process called subrogation. You don't have to fight that battle, the professionals fight it for you. That's actually how the system is supposed to work. Sometimes it does. 59. A bear broke into a Colorado cabin to get at a bag of groceries on the counter. Tore through a window, destroyed the kitchen, wandered out the front door. Covered? Yes. Wild animal damage from outside the home is generally covered under homeowners. Same animal but a raccoon nest in your attic for 2 years? Not covered. Why? Because that's neglected maintenance, not a sudden event. Same species family, wildly different outcomes. 60. Catalytic converter theft has absolutely exploded across the country, and most folks don't realize how it actually gets handled. It's a comprehensive claim, not collision, and yes, the deductible applies the same as any theft. A San Jose driver got hit 3 separate times in 8 months on the same Prius, and his carrier eventually non-renewed him. Not for anything he did wrong, just because the math stopped working in their favor. The car was a magnet. The premium became impossible. Welcome to modern auto coverage. 61. Bird hits your windshield at 70 miles per hour and cracks it. Comprehensive. Glass coverage if you have it. Simple. A Minnesota driver tried to also claim trauma counseling for the emotional impact of watching a goose die on his hood. Comprehensive does not, in fact, cover therapy. He was told this with great kindness and zero compromise. 62. Tornado peeled the siding off the south face of an Oklahoma home, leaving the rest untouched. Carrier wanted to repair only the damaged panels. Homeowner wanted the entire house resided to match. This is one of the most common fights in the entire industry, and the answer depends on something called matching laws, which vary state by state. Oklahoma sided with the homeowner. Texas often doesn't. Same storm, different state, different result. Worth knowing your own state's rule. 63. Wildfire evacuation. A California family fled for 10 days, racked up $4,000 in hotels, food, and a pet boarding bill. Homeowners policies usually include something called loss of use or additional living expenses. And yes, evacuation counts even if your house ultimately survives. Most people don't realize they can claim those costs. They just eat them. Don't eat them. Save your receipts. All of them. Even the gas station ones. 64. Mechanical breakdown is not insurance. Read that again. If your transmission drops out of your car on the highway, your auto policy does nothing. That's a warranty issue or an out-of-pocket repair. A Detroit driver tried for 2 weeks to get his blown engine covered as sudden damage. Sudden? Sure. Damage, technically. Covered? Absolutely not. Comprehensive and collision are about external events, not internal failures. The engine doesn't count as a perpetrator. 65. Falling objects from the sky. This is one of the strangest, most beautifully specific corners of homeowners insurance. Meteorites, satellites, airplane parts, all of it. There's an actual peril listed in most policies called falling objects, paired with a separate one for aircraft, and if a chunk of space junk lands on your roof, you're covered. A Georgia couple had a small meteorite punch through their bathroom ceiling a few years back. The claim went through cleanly. Insurance will deny ghosts and moose all day long, but a literal piece of falling space? That one pays. 66. Civil unrest and riot damage. Hot topic, rough subject, important to actually understand. Most standard homeowners and auto policies cover it, full stop. Riot, civil commotion, vandalism, all named perils on the policy. A Minneapolis business owner whose storefront was hit during the 2020 unrest assumed coverage would be denied. It wasn't. The check landed in about 3 weeks. The myth that carriers exclude this stuff is just that, a myth. War and nuclear events are excluded. Riots are not. Know the difference because everyone else online is telling you the wrong thing. 67. A drone crashes into a Brooklyn brownstone, takes out a third-floor window, chips the brick, and the homeowner has no idea who flew it. Covered? Yes. Falling objects again. Same peril family as the meteorite. The hard part is recovery. Without identifying the operator, the carrier pays out and there's no one to subrogate against. Drones are now showing up in claims files at a rate that didn't exist 5 years ago. The skies got crowded fast. The claims department noticed. 68. Final one. And if you take only one thing from this entire video, please take this. The single most underrated policy in America is the personal umbrella. For roughly $200 to $400 a year, you get $1 million of liability coverage that sits on top of your home and auto policies. One bad car accident, one pool incident, one dog bite, and your underlying policy can run dry in an afternoon. Without an umbrella, every dollar after that comes from your savings, your house, your retirement account. With one, the carrier fights the war for you. A Texas family avoided losing their home over a teenage driver's 3-car wreck purely because dad had bought an umbrella the year before. Call your agent this week. Ask for a quote. It's the cheapest peace of mind money can buy in this country, and almost nobody owns it. Quick question before you go. What's the dumbest reason you've ever heard for an insurance claim getting denied? Yours, a friend's, a family member's, doesn't matter. Drop it in the comments. The funnier, the better. Hit the like button if any of these stories made you laugh out loud and subscribe so you don't miss the next batch. See you in the next one.